Today we'll explore selective breeding, a technique humans have used for thousands of years to develop plants and animals with characteristics we find useful or attractive. In this episode, we'll take a look at what selective breeding actually is, the steps involved in this process, examples of selective breeding in action, and issues associated with selective breeding. Selective breeding might sound like a complicated topic, but it's actually really straightforward. It's when humans choose plants or animals with characteristics they want to keep and make sure these organisms reproduce together. This way, the genes for those useful or attractive features remain in the population. Think about it. We've developed cows that produce tons of milk, crops that resist plant diseases, and dogs with friendly personalities. None of these existed naturally. Humans created them through selective breeding. The process is super simple. First, from your existing stock of plants or animals, you pick out the ones with the characteristics you're looking for. Then you breed these selected organisms with each other. From their offspring, you again select the ones showing the best examples of the trait you want and breed them together. You keep this up for several generations, and the desirable trait gets stronger and stronger. Eventually, all the offspring have the characteristic you wanted. Farmers use selective breeding all the time to improve yields. For example, to get more milk, a farmer might breed together the cows and bulls with the best milk producing traits. After doing this for several generations, they end up with cows that produce way more milk than their ancestors ever did. To get more meat, they might select cattle with genes for larger size. Selective breeding isn't some new technology. People have been doing it for thousands of years. It's how we ended up with edible crops from wild plants, and how we got domesticated animals like cows and dogs. Before modern science, farmers and animal breeders didn't know about genes, but they still observed which individuals had the best traits and bred them together. But selective breeding isn't perfect. It has some serious drawbacks. The main problem is that it reduces what scientists call the gene pool, the number of different alleles or forms of a gene in a population. We covered alleles in our episode on genetic inheritance. This happens because the breeder keeps breeding from similar animals or plants which are all closely related. This is known as inbreeding. Inbreeding can cause health problems because there's more chance of harmful recessive defects when the gene pool is limited. Some dog breeds are particularly susceptible to certain defects because of inbreeding, like bulldogs having breathing problems. There can also be serious issues if a new disease appears. Because there's not much variation in the population and all the stock are closely related to each other, if one of them is going to be killed by a new disease, the others are likely to succumb to it too. This lack of genetic diversity means if environmental conditions change, these selectively bred organisms might not have the genetic variation needed to adapt and survive. Understanding selective breeding helps us appreciate how humans have shaped the domesticated plants and animals we rely on today. It also highlights the importance of maintaining genetic diversity in our food sources. In our next episode, we'll explore genetic engineering, a more recent technology that allows scientists to modify the genetic material of organisms directly.